Hello everyone, welcome to the U.S. Immigration News. For years, the processing timeline for I-130 petitions has been a key indicator of how efficiently the U.S. immigration system is functioning, and a source of anxiety for millions of families around the world. As of mid-2025, the landscape of I-130 processing has shifted dramatically under the Trump administration, drawing sharp contrasts with the policies and timelines seen during the Biden administration. This comprehensive overview will explore the current status of I-130 processing, compare it to recent years under President Biden, and explain what these changes mean for families, applicants, and the broader immigration system. In this video, we'll break down exactly what's happening with I-130 petitions right now, how Trump's policies are changing timelines and rules, and what it means for millions of families waiting to reunite in the United States. If you are liking this video, please hit the bell button, subscribe, and like it so that you may get updates straight to your smartphone. Now let's get into the video. To understand the present reality, it's helpful to look back at the recent history of I-130 processing. Under the Biden administration, U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, USCIS, made reducing backlogs and improving processing times a top priority. The agency implemented new internal goals, invested in technology, and expanded staffing to address the unprecedented caseload that had built up during the pandemic in previous years. As a result, by late 2023 and into 2024, many family-based petitions, especially for immediate relatives of U.S. citizens, were being processed in roughly 10 to 13 months, with some adjustment of status cases moving even faster when filed concurrently with Form 1485. However, the situation changed rapidly following the start of President Trump's second term in January 2025. One of the administration's earliest executive orders directed USCIS to pause the final adjudication of certain green card applications, particularly those involving refugees and asylees, in order to conduct additional security vetting. This pause created immediate uncertainty for thousands of applicants who had already endured years of background checks and interviews. While the administration emphasized the need for national security, the impact on families and individuals seeking permanent residency was significant, with cases placed in legal limbo and no clear timeline for resolution. Beyond these targeted pauses, the Trump administration has reinstated or expanded several policies that directly affect I-130 processing for all family-based categories. Universal interview requirements for adjustment of status applicants have returned, replacing the Biden-era waivers that had streamlined the process for low-risk cases. Sponsor income requirements have been raised, and stricter documentation is now necessary to demonstrate financial self-sufficiency, echoing the controversial public charge rule from Trump's first term. These changes have introduced new administrative hurdles, leading to longer review times and a higher likelihood of requests for evidence or outright denials for incomplete applications. As of June 2025, the average processing time for I-130 petitions varies significantly depending on the relationship and the applicant's location. For immediate relatives, spouses, parents, and unmarried children under 21 of U.S. citizens, the typical wait is now between 12 and 15 months, with some cases stretching longer due to increased scrutiny and staffing shortages. For family preference categories such as siblings of U.S. citizens or adult children, the wait can be much longer. The F2A category, covering spouses and minor children of permanent residents, is currently seeing processing times of up to 35 months, while F2B, F3, and F4 categories routinely involve waits of 6 years or more, and in some cases over a decade for applicants from high-demand countries like Mexico and the Philippines. Comparing these numbers to the Biden administration's approach highlights a clear divergence. Under Biden, the focus was on backlog reduction, efficiency, and customer service. USCIS made public commitments to transparency, regularly updated processing time estimates, and introduced measures to waive interviews and reduce paperwork for straightforward cases. The agency's internal cycle time goals, established in 2022, were designed to ensure that most I-130 petitions for immediate relatives could be completed within 12 months, and family preference petitions within 2 to 3 years. While not all targets were met due to the sheer volume of cases, the general trend was toward shorter waits and fewer bureaucratic obstacles. In contrast, the Trump administration's renewed emphasis on security, enforcement, and administrative rigor has reversed many of these gains. The return of universal interviews, increased vetting, and stricter financial requirements have all contributed to longer processing times and greater uncertainty for applicants. Additionally, the administration's decision to pause green card processing for refugees and asylees has sent a chilling message to vulnerable populations, many of whom have already undergone extensive screening before arriving in the U.S. The impact of these changes is not limited to individual families. As processing times grow and backlogs increase, the entire immigration system faces mounting pressure. USCIS, which is funded primarily through application fees, risks financial instability as delays discourage new filings and reduce revenue. Staffing shortages and budget deficits, already a concern during Trump's first term, are once again looming as the agency struggles to keep up with the demands of heightened scrutiny and new policy directives. For applicants, the practical implications are clear. Families must now prepare for longer waits, more paperwork, and a higher likelihood of requests for additional information. Those sponsoring relatives from countries with high demand may face waits of a decade or more, and even immediate relatives can no longer count on rapid approval. The increased emphasis on financial self-sufficiency means that sponsors must gather extensive documentation to prove their ability to support the beneficiary, and any gaps or inconsistencies can lead to costly delays. For refugees and asylees, the situation is even more fraught. The temporary pause on green card processing means that many individuals who have already proven their eligibility for protection are now forced to wait indefinitely, unable to fully integrate into American society or reunite with family members left behind. Legal challenges to these policies are ongoing, but for now, the uncertainty persists. Despite these challenges, there are steps that applicants and families can take to improve their chances of success. Careful preparation of all required documents, early filing, and close attention to USCIS instructions are more important than ever. Consulting with an experienced immigration attorney can help navigate the complex and shifting landscape, especially for those facing unusual circumstances or additional scrutiny. Looking ahead, the future of I-130 processing timelines will depend largely on the outcome of ongoing legal battles, potential legislative changes, and the administration's willingness to adjust its approach in response to public pressure and operational realities. For now, however, the trend is clear. Under the Trump administration, I-130 processing is slower, more demanding, and less predictable than it was under President Biden. In summary, the current status of I-130 processing under the Trump administration is defined by longer wait times, increased administrative hurdles, and greater uncertainty for families seeking to reunite in the United States. Compared to the Biden administration's focus on efficiency and backlog reduction, the new approach prioritizes security and enforcement at the expense of speed and accessibility. For millions of families, this means that patience, preparation, and persistence are more important than ever on the road to permanent residency. That's all we have for this bulletin. The U.S. Immigration News Channel provides all necessary visa information and procedures for your U.S. immigration journey. It is important to understand the United States immigration processing steps, visa application requirements, processing times, forms, fees, and more. We will continue to provide all information about U.S. visitor visas, such as B-1 and B-2, work visas such as L1A, L1B, and H1B, student visas, green cards, immigrant visas, EB1, EB2, EB3, EB4, and EB5, and family immigrant visas. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the U.S. Immigration News channel. And thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.